Hey y'all, and welcome back. Hope everyone's doing well today. Thanks for watching and thanks for subscribing. So on the last video on beater bomb here, we got it running pretty good. Everything's smoothed out. Did another look over on the car after that video. Alternator's shot. It's not charging. The air intake temp sensor is broke completely in half, and the temp sensor itself isn't working properly, so I got no temp gauge on the dash at all. So I got a little head start this morning. I went through one of my parts cars. I bought an 89 LX rust bucket a couple months back. The intake was off and it had a bunch of parts in it, so it's got about a brand new radiator in it. The alternator looks about, I don't know, 6 or 7 months old, so I'm gonna give those a shot versus spending a ton of money on this till I figure out if it's good to go and there's no issues with the motor. But so far it looks really good. I went to the old Wally World and bought some oil last night. I got a ton of filters, so I'm going to do an oil change on it. Filter or radiator. I'm going to flush the coolant system, replace the radiator today. I'm going to clock the distributor, and I got a little head start, like I said. I pulled the fan shroud. The distributor was stuck, so I put some PB Blaster around the base, and I'll show you some tricks to getting that unstuck. You don't want to beat on it. You don't want to tug on the TFI module, none of that stuff. A lot of them just get stuck from setting after years. So without flapping, let's take a look real quick and show you this crispy, nice, clean coolant that came out of this thing. All right, so we got a head start today. Look at that nice, yummy coolant. Delicious. All right, so looking at this car, yesterday I noticed the hose clamps were the wrong color. It's got a 90 model radiator hose on the upper. This radiator is a Ford radiator. You can see the Ford stamp, and it's nice and juicy down in there too. Ooh, yummy. So clocking the distributor. Now it is broke free now. It wouldn't spin freely before. It was stuck like a nut, let me tell you what. And what I normally do is take the AC bracket off this area down here that looks like it's for a wrench. That's exactly what it's for, is when these get stuck. So Ford, so I had one sub ask me about clocking the distributor. Is it necessary? Now I've always been told that Ford sets these up the way they are, the dwell timing is correct and all that other stuff. If your distributor's clocked wrong and it bugs you, like I can't stand when it sits sideways, it drives me completely and utterly nuts. And you can't set the timing half the time when it's like that. Now, if your car's running fine and it's sitting like this and it drives you crazy too, pop the cap off, mark the top of the part that the rotor cap sits on, and with a little marker, pull it, twist it, and then just line it back up. It's that simple. Now my anal ass, I always bring it up number one on top dead center, and I'm going to set the timing anyway, so I had to clean the balancer up. I'll show you that real quick. So I got that cleaned up, marked where I want it. I got the distributor broke free. I'm going to pull it up, reclock it, tighten it back down, and set the timing on it once it's back together. Now don't forget to pull the timing prong out when you do that. That's a big deal. Got to get that right. So real quick, timing right here. I got the balancer all cleaned up. I'm going to set it at 12 or 14. That's all done, ready to go. I got it number one on top dead center. Now I normally do that is I take the number one spark plug out, stick my finger in the hole, you know how that goes, and just kind of bar it over till you feel compression coming out of the cylinder, and it comes up zero. Set it at 0 on the balancer, and that's top dead center. Mark your rotor where that's at. That's number one. You pull it back out, clock it right, just make sure that yellow mark lines up. So here's my little yellow, this is where it was right here, and that's kind of how. This is not so bad, but right in here, I've seen them set like this. That drives me crazy. Now, if you look at the actual distributor itself, down in here, see if we can zoom down here. Down in here, you see where they actually punch mark the distributor base with the block right there. That's where they should be lined up, right there. So that's so you get the dwell timing right and all that set right. So I'm gonna pull it out and make sure it lines up good on the housing right here, the lower distributor cap, and we should be good to go with that part. So after that, I've got my other water hose hooked up. I'm gonna unhook the bypass for the heater tube, open the drain cock, which it is already open, and I'm gonna take the water hose and just back flush it through the block and try to get all that nasty ass coolant, water or whatever it is, dirt, mud, out of the block as much as you can. You're never gonna get all of it. Now, if you got one that's been sitting a long time and you do it that way, be prepared. 9 times out of 10, heater core is going to pop. That's just how it is. That's the nature of the beast. The dash in this car has a small crack over on the driver's side by the cluster, so I'm going to probably put a dash in it down the road. So if it does blow, I'll go ahead and do the dash then, and do a heater core, because the AC isn't charged anyway, so it'll give me a good opportunity to do all the AC system as well when I'm at that point. So that's what I'm doing with these project cars. When you get these cars and they sit for a long time, they're going to need everything. You might as well, I got people when I sell project cars or stuff like this, they hit me up, what all does it need? It's been sitting 30 years. You can just calculate. You got heating, cooling, AC, alternator, battery, brakes, clutch, go through the rear end, drain the transmission. All that shit's got to be redone. So just factor that in when you buy a project car, how much you're going to invest in the long run. If you've got 12 or 15 grand saved up, just keep saving until you can afford a super nice, maybe low mileage car, because these things will eat you out of house and home if you can't do it yourself. But this one, we're just going to get running as good as we can, get it where up and driving. We're going to turn the rotors, put some pads, shocks, struts, and all that other stuff, and just get it where it's a good, dependable, daily driver type car. Yep, it looks like ass, but it's a good, solid, rust-free car to start with. So that's what's important. So I'm going to quit flapping. I'm going to unhook this bypass off the heater tube itself, run some water through the coolant system until it comes out mostly clear, and then pull the radiator out, put another radiator in it, and get all that stuff ready to go. So if you want to hang out, watch some of this video, and we'll shoot the shit. And yeah, thanks again. Alrighty then, so go back to this little thing here. Now, flush the coolant. Now, the first hose I unhooked was the bypass hose for the heater tube. Run it through, let it come out the other side. Make sure you got plenty of drain pans on there. I've got an old 55-gallon drum I put my waste crap in. Got it where it's coming out pretty clear. Actually, it's really clear, actually. And then I'll unhook the 90-degree and run it through that, down the bottom hose into the pan till it comes out clear. And then I'll put the water hose in the bottom hose and run it out the 90-degree to back flush it. And that's how you get all that crap out of it. Now, I've got the distributor out, reclocked. Pretty simple. Just take the bolt out, lift it up, turn it, make sure it's back on the yellow dot. Pretty easy to do. It's not a big deal. But what I want to show you when I'm talking about clocking things, these new alternators or remans they put out, they're clocked wrong. I don't know why. They got them all clocked for 2.3 cars. Where they plug in the one plug, they clock it is all the way on the inside by the alternator bracket, and the plug hits the thing and it tears it all to shit. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is an original alternator. This is where they're supposed to be. One plug should be here and the other plug should be here. Now, this is a reman. And if you see, if I set it the way it's supposed to be, the plug is not where it needs to be. It's up here on the top and the other one is over there. So when you put it in, that second plug I just showed you hits right here on this bracket. So in order to reclock these, they're a little bit more of a pain in the butt. You take these 3 bolts out. You got one here, one over here, and one here, and you just turn the case clockwise? Yeah, clockwise. So that's how you clock that. So I got to get that done. As you can see, this alternator looks pretty new. It's pre-built. I don't think it's going to go nowhere. Over here, got my brand new to me radiator out of the old rust bucket sitting over there. So I back flushed that one too, and this is what came out of that. So I got it pretty clear. So that's going to go in there. Got everything ready to go. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead, clock this alternator, get it put on the car, get the radiator put in, hook the hoses back up. Basically just reverse order. I'm going to swap out the air temp sensor. I'll show you that when I get it off. It's broke all the shit right in here. That's the air temp sensor right there. It's all broke. It's not hooked up, so I got to swap that out. It's going to be a pain. And your temp sensor is right here. Now, when I fill the engine with coolant, I take this completely out and fill it till water or coolant comes out of there. Basically 50-50 mix. That normally pushes all the air up to the top and gets most of it out. So when you start the car and let it come up to temperature, you should be good to go. So that's not me talking. I'm going to get all this done and show you what it looks like. Let's finish. All right, so got this thing running. Runs good. I got the timing set. I set it at 14, and then I set it off and put a spout back in it. I got it, let it run up to temperature, check the alternator. It's charging good. It's putting out 13.5 at idle, 14.2 when I rev it up. It is running super good now. I'm waiting for the heater core to blow. So I'll show you everything, and just, it's a nasty mess. It still kind of looks the same because, you know, I put some used parts on it. But hey, if you got it, use it while you can. If it's good, no point in wasting money on something like this because you're not sure if the motor is even good or if it's got a blown head gasket or anything like that. So let's go ahead and get in this thing and fire it up. Now the airbag buzzer is going off. I think it's because there's not a light. The light's not working in the dash, and that will cause the buzzer to go off. She is up to temp, so it's running really good. The cold start was super good. Temperature's good. Needs a new oil pressure sending unit. It's doing the old flicky thing. Gas gauge is even working. Temp gauge working. Alternator's charging good. Running really well. Hell yeah. The air temp sensor swapped out. Back in there. That thing was out. This is plugged in right. Oh yeah. Alright, so it's working good. I'm happy with it so far. Let me know what y'all think of the video so far. And if you want to see more content on this one, I'm going to do the brakes, struts, new tires. I got a set of rims I'm going to paint for it. Basically, kind of do some interior work, get everything working good, and kind of use it as a daily driver for a little while. So it's a Sunday. I didn't film a lot. Sorry about that. If you got any questions or comments, you can hit me below at foxjunk73@gmail.com, and I'll answer when I can. And y'all have a good Sunday. Just remember, it's not just junk, it's Fox Junk.